So it's not often that when working through these Medal of Honor stories, you have somebody's name that so matches what they did as you do with Lieutenant Richard McCool. Lieutenant McCool was commanding an LCS or landing craft ship in the Ryukyu chain, which I'm certain I mispronounced, in and around Okinawa. So this was in June. The action took place 10-11 June 1945 during the Battle of Okinawa. Lieutenant McCool was commanding this LCS that was serving as picket duty. So picket duty meant, well, to back up a little bit, and to display my very limited naval knowledge, the creation of these LCS landing craft support ships came about because after some landings in the Pacific, the Navy identified, and Navy and the Marines identified a need for the middle ground. So we had these larger ships and transports and destroyers and cruisers that could provide support, but they could only get so close to the shore, could only get so close in their support. And then you had the landing craft, the Higgins boats, that were not really providing a high level of support. They might have a couple machine guns on them, but there is a substantial difference between a battleship or a cruiser providing direct fire support and a Higgins boat with a couple machine guns. So these LCSs were designed to kind of be in between, and they were smaller, about 300 feet, and had a crew of around 80, 85 is the number I have in my head. And they were designed to kind of serve in between, be able to come in a little closer to shore, provide fire support, or anything else. Pick guys out of the water, rescue efforts, just something in the middle, right, is the LCS. So Lieutenant McCool's LCS was serving on picket duty. And picket duty is, you have these essentially naval outposts. So you've got these ships scattered around your fleet, or in this case around the fleet as well as the troops on shore. And they're designed to detect and potentially and ideally shoot down enemy aircraft or identify enemy ships as they start to approach the friendlies. So he's serving on picket duty, and a Japanese suicide attack squadron enters the airspace. His crew is able to shoot down one of these, but the second makes it through and crashes into the side of his LCS. So at 300 feet, that's a pretty small ship, all things considered. And to have a plane crash in the middle of that, it wouldn't have been crazy for the ship to sink and for the crew to expect it to sink and just abandon ship. What's crazy here is, so Lieutenant McCool is wounded in the attack. He had shrapnel wounds. It sounds like he may have even been kind of knocked unconscious for a short period of time. And he's definitely got a lot of severe burns all over his body. But he comes to, and I'll say, the term regain composure maybe isn't correct because it suggests that maybe he lost his composure before that. But I would say like he caught his breath, right? Like you get the wind knocked out of you, you catch your breath. He's back in the fight, and he's immediately in go mode. So he's right out the gate, starts pushing for very aggressive measures to save the ship and put out the fires. Again, totally reasonable to think that the ship is now lost. This is a catastrophic attack that they've just experienced. But despite being very severely wounded, he's gathering his men, he's keeping them on task, he's showing them what needs to be done, he's enabling the support, he's leading. He's leading despite his wounds, despite taking this direct hit right by his tower where he was stationed. On top of that, he notices a sailor screaming from a room that's on fire, a compartment that is covered in flames. So he runs into the compartment to grab this guy and pull him out to safety. So, that by itself, he should have been fully expecting, or understood at least, that if he goes in that compartment, he might not come out alive. He does that. He takes a break from leading this crew and saving the entire ship to run in, save a sailor, and then comes right back out and doesn't miss a beat and gets right back to it. He stays in command and in charge of that effort until other ships are able to make it out to him and assist and really put the fire out, and kind of stabilize the ship. They save the ship, they save the crew. The ship goes on to continue service of the war. And what's cool here, I'm trying not to use the word, but I'm gonna fail. So what's really cool here is you hear about this in a lot of other stories where maybe somebody's wounded or anything might happen and they need to kind of regain themselves, right? And they need that split second to think and get back in the action. And when it's a leader, you end up having, by doing that, by quickly getting back into it, they might make a decision that influences their squad or maybe a platoon. What's awesome here is Lieutenant McCool did it and saved an entire ship, potentially saved the lives of 80 plus sailors on board. I mean, if that ship goes down, there's no, hopefully not everybody on board dies. Hopefully there's some support that comes by and rescues the sailors, but it didn't matter because it didn't sink. So it's just an impressive story of taking a punch and not backing down and getting after it right away. And what I've struggled with this entire time is not to refer to his leadership as cool under pressure. And when you read his Medal of Honor description, it feels like they were trying to dodge that as well. They used the term, staunch leadership. Staunch leadership and capable direction. I would say he was cool under pressure. Lieutenant Richard McCool, then lieutenant, went on to serve 30 years in the U.S. Navy, to include service in Korea and Vietnam, and retired as a captain.